Hello, my name is Aisha Ramadhani from class 5 AG2. I'm here to explain a theoretical study from Discourse and Discourse analysis. A theoretical study is based on the ideas and conceptual principles that relate to a particular subject rather than its practical aspect. A concept is an idea or abstract principle. It is an abstract idea conceived in the mind of a scholar that defines a term in an academic discipline. The terms, the theoretical concept of discourse and discourse analysis refers to abstract ideas that scholars, specialists in particular field of study such as authors, experts, and researchers have come up with to define the terms discourse and discourse analysis. The word discourse is derived from Latin discoursus, which means conversation, speech, and speech. Discourse studies look at the form and function of language in conversation beyond its small grammatical piece, such as phonemes and morphemes. This field of study is interested in how larger unit of language. Discourse from virtual search. There is two way to get understanding virtual search and the individual search. From virtual search, there is an Oxford Online Dictionary. They said that discourse is written or spoken communication, and in freedictionary.com there is discourse is verbal expression in speech or writing. In Merriam-Webster.com, discourse is verbal exchange of ideas, especially conversation. So after I read all the definition of all the virtual searches, discourse is communication and verbal expressions in speech and writing, or the verbal exchange of ideas, Discourse from linguists or individual search. First, from Edmondson, says that discourse is a structural event manifested in linguistic behavior or others various text is an arrangement of structural linguistic expression which form of unity. Second, from Carlson, that discourse is a stretch of continuous utterance or a sequence of individual sentences. So it does not only consist of utterance or sentence which are grammatically well formed. From Cook claims that discourse is kind of language in use for communication, and Crystal said that discourse is continuous stretch of especially spoken language larger than a sentence, often constituting a coherent unit such as a sermon. Argument as a sermon, argument, joke, or narrative. And the last Craven consider that discourse is a study of any aspect of language use. And after I read definition from linguists or individual searches, I think discourse is a structural event manifested in linguistic behavior and a sequence of individual sentence of individual sentence, so it does not only consist of utterance or sentence which are grammatically well formed. Three things we can identify. First is linguistic process, or the process of linguistic. Example, communication and language use. Second, linguistic product, the product of language. Example, writing, speech, or sentence. And third, and the last, linguistic quality, linguistic quality, or the quality of language. The quality of language are grammatically formed and coherent. So I will tell you about the virtual and individual searches about discourse analysis. First, in Wikipedia.com, discourse analysis, or DA, or discourse studies, is a general term for a number of approaches to analyze written, vocal, or sign language use or any significant semiotic event. Discourse at toftico.com. Discourse analysis is a broad term for the study of the ways in which language is used between people, both in written text and spoken text. In www.linguisticsociety.org, discourse analysis is sometimes defined as the analysis of language beyond the sentence. Individual searches or linguists about discourse. First is McCarthy. They said discourse analysis describes the interrelationship between language and its context. And the next would say that the analysis of discourse, frequently defined as language used above the level of the sentence, provides students with the opportunity to study the meaningful production and interpretation of text and talk. And Brown, G. and Yule said that the analysis of discourse is necessarily the analysis of language in use. As such, it cannot be restricted to the description of linguistic form. Independent description of linguistic form independent of the purpose or function which those forms are designed to serve in human affairs. Mutually shared concept. The mutually shared concept from virtual and individual searches is first, linguistic analysis. Example, to analyze, to describe, and or to identify. Second, linguistic process. Example, language use, the organization of language. And three, linguistic product. Written text, spoken interaction, and language function. And the last, linguistic quality. Example, meaningful and significant. It is defined as attempt to identify significant language forms and function by analyzing the organization of language use in terms of written, text, and spoken interaction. To this point, it is understood that students studying discourse analysis must conduct discourse analysis. Analysis is defined as a detailed examination of something to discover its constituent piece, their function, and their connection. According to the Merriam-Webster Online Dictionary, in other words, students must conduct a careful study of language. Yes, in order to learn about language, parts such as form and function, what they do in language, and how they are related to one another to form meanings in the language. What we expected to get in study discourse analysis is we can to examine thematic links. We can to analyze structure and texture in written text or to analyze structure and texture in written text or in spoken interaction. So, and the last, to discuss whether the discourse can be classified as a belonging to a particular register to genre. And the next, to analyze the discourse in relation to assumption about the relationship between speaker, writer, and the recipient of a message. Thanks, that's for me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.